Friendship simp. So much arguing to save one-sided friendships can seem like we support simping for our lousy friends. Repeatedly giving them chances, accepting their shortcomings, letting them do what's convenient for them, while we accommodate and put in more effort, and they wouldn't have thought about us if we never reached out. On the surface, it looks like there's a distinct lack of self-respect, which was one of the initial theoretical reasons to cut them off. How do we avoid being doormats? By calmly reassessing their level of investment. Let's quickly re-examine what simp means. An individual who is excessively attentive, giving, or submissive to someone who does not reciprocate the same feelings. Outside the original context of romantic interest and sexual attraction, unhealthy platonic relationships can also become like this. So based on two specifics in the definition, here's how we'd suggest saving one-sided friendships while preserving enough self-respect to not be simping. I'm Phil.
I'm Pierce.
I'm Todd.
This video belongs in the Let's Relook series. Today, let's relook friendship.
In this video, we'll be making small references to ideas and points from previous videos. But don't sweat it, you can still understand this video without knowing everything from before. First, excessively. Friendship always costs something from all parties involved. For example, time, money, attention, energy, to name a few. But we usually don't feel the cost aspect because the process, in other words the journey, of putting in all these resources usually feels good. Because putting in is part of the point being the journey. It shouldn't cost ourselves that much to build or maintain a friendship. Therefore, if we've reached a point where we can actually feel the cost of the friendship, it's usually statement 3 that's false. In other words, we're putting in excessively. If we felt that 1 or 2 was false, it would be very difficult to be friends with them in the first place. These costs to ourselves can look like, but aren't limited to, paying for the meal, meeting somewhere closer to them, texting them first, texting them more, our texts are longer, not being able to concentrate on work or life because we're spending time ruminating on how our friend may not actually be our friend. Accommodating or giving in to their convenience is not inherently pathetic on our part. There will always be situations where that's what a good friend in a healthy friendship would do. But even in normal relationships, accommodating generally shouldn't be that hard and it shouldn't happen that often. There should also always be give and take in the relationship and never too much giving or taking in a single direction. But only we get to decide how much is too much. As we figure that out, one thing to consider is what's really costing us. Is it the resources we're throwing at the friendship? Or is it the pain of loneliness putting our existence into question? Which is worse? Doing a little more to see them soon? Or not meet them for another 8 to infinite months? What's the problem to solve? Just think it over to put things in a different perspective. We may get a better idea, or at least a more complete picture of what we should do. Does not reciprocate. There should be some investment from them to connect with us genuinely. Friendship, being conditional, necessitates that friends invest in each other. After all, there's an unspoken exchange of value, most commonly known as effort, right? Whether it's in the form of time, attention, energy, literal gifts, etc. And yes, the amounts are supposed to be unclear and vague, so we assess them in feelings, not numbers. We also said that friendships aren't transactional. That's why return on investment is different from payoff, deliverables, or goods and services rendered that we see in transactions. While the element of exchange, give and take is a similarity between conditional and transactional, the differences that separate them are the number. In scenarios where we trade favors or receive goods and services in exchange for handing over a number of dollars, that number makes it a transaction. For example, when we pay $5 to $50 a month as of 2023 for pictures of people and ego-boosting messages from them. Pay $150 for 2 hours as of 2021 for something that simulates participation, as in rental dates, rent a girlfriend, rent a boyfriend, rent a family. Ask someone to help us with one political favor or get one project deal worth $100,000 or etc. with the promise of returning the favor down the road. Would we call these people accepting favors from us that we later have to do favors for our collaborators or friends? Are we paying our friends or vendors and associates? By extension, would our bosses refer to us as employees or friends? But if you said the bar is so low and tier D is good enough, can't we be friends with all of these people? That's indeed correct. It definitely helps to be on each other's good side, which is very important in such business relationships. And right here is the key takeaway. We can consider these people our friends if the recurring interaction condition is met, but they'll never purely be a friend. The number will always make them a business relationship. They can be both. That probably covers our industry network at large. People who can be both friends and business relations, where we invest in it for a payoff sometimes. The real question here is, which are they mainly? Personal or professional? Will we refer to them as a business relationship first or a friend? Conversely, that also means that people who started off as friends can turn more into business relationships. As usual, nothing wrong with that. We find what works best for us to thrive without feeling a void in our heart. The act. Okay, so the number makes it more clearly a business relationship. But how exactly is return on investment different from payoff in terms of making it a friendship? At its simplest, both the investment and the returns in a friendship are going out to meet face to face, talking, and listening to each other about what feels meaningful to us. So quality time, basically. What if I want to talk business and industry? Isn't that meaningful too? Sure, as long as we're not trying to get some number of time or money commitment out of them. Let's not confuse the business side of work and the meaning side of work as the same thing. But what if I'm so passionate about my business that I have to pitch it to them in conversation? Then they'll listen and verbally encourage us, but they're not obliged to do anything else. So investing in a friend is meeting them in person just to talk about something we enjoy and believe in. That's it. Yes, among other things like that. That's how they see us for what we are. The bar is low. Don't get precious. This is proof that our friends would make time for us and that they actually like us. But can't you pay for that? Not really, but let's pretend that we can for a while just to see where that takes us. Investment would be them acting like a friend and we wouldn't be able to tell that they don't actually care about us. Whereas when there's payoff, in other words, the rental relationships where we've given a number to the other participant, we have zero doubt whatsoever that they're just acting the whole time. Basically, friendship, even fake ones, would still be about investment, not payoff. Investment would still be of higher value because the acting is better, and good acting requires more effort. Another way to put it is, if the con is that sophisticated, they earned it. It's impressive. They can keep whatever they tricked us for. The harmony. From a business productivity standpoint, synergy is when the effect of combined action is greater than the sum of its parts. Allow me to introduce harmony, which is synergy, but for friendships. Yes, we do see the irony that we just talked about how friendship isn't primarily instrumentalist because that would make it a business relationship. But let's entertain the idea. In House of Cards, Frank uses the word harmony to describe the significance of his friends. He and his friends also happened to sing as a barbershop quartet, so it was poetically referencing melodic harmony. It's not about what's lasting or permanent. It's about individual voices coming together for a moment. And that moment lasts the length of a breath. Yes, we also acknowledge it's ironic that Frank, the most manipulative and instrumentalist politician, can impart any sort of wisdom about something organic like friendship. But it's still a legitimate idea. Beyond just singing with our friends, harmony happens only when we're in it together. By interacting actively, effortfully, combining what we individually bring to the table, we affect each other in ways we couldn't have developed on our own. Personally, this distinction between investment and payoff is as good as it gets. As we've said before, business-minded people have come up with ways to simulate and fake participation and effort with rentals and etc. But if there is no harmony, no individual souls combining, resulting in no added value, the bar is low. Then there is no friendship. To use a movie trope where rich miserable men pay for escorts only to pour their hearts out, it's what happens in that hour or so that separates just another transaction from genuine human connection. A one-sided sharing, just the man crying at the woman who looks bored, is miles apart from both opening up to share their problems and sincerely listening to each other. Only one scenario has individual voices coming together for the most fleeting of moments. That's definitely investment. Co-workers, not friends. We like to briefly come back to why people can interact often with each other and still never become friends. For example, our co-workers and classmates. It's because of a lack of investment and harmony. In this case, it's not we know each other, it's more like we know of each other. Or of course, it's also possible someone's being too snobby to realize the bar is low in front of our very eyes. Some may also have noticed by now that even though good quality friendships require investment doesn't always mean it's a friendship. In the rich man escort movie trope reference, meeting only once doesn't fulfill even the first condition of a tier D friend. Recurring interaction. This is probably also why people remain acquaintances and don't graduate into friends. They don't have enough interactions. But such a scenario still contains the other conditions like openness and vulnerability seen in better friendships, and those are good things to experience anyway. Friends, not simping. Coming back to being simps for our friends, we consider them friends in the first place because we've already had the recurring interactions over the course of our history. With Tier D already in place, by going out to meet face to face, talking and listening to each other about what feels meaningful to us, isn't that a real friendship? Focusing on the fact that they continue to show up and invest time, attention, energy every time we initiate can be as much of a choice as feeling undermined and disrespected that they never initiate. We can examine if there's still genuine human connection and appreciate moments of harmony more with greater awareness. Sure, one of us could be always initiating and the other never. Even if this friendship is still arguably one-sided, having both a shared history and continued investment in each other in the present proves that this friendship is not one-sided enough to meet the definition of simping. We're actually friends, so we can keep our head up for a friend.
Here at LTAp, we make content about what it means to live well, as a kind of answer to everything. There could be billions of different interpretations to this, since ultimately everybody gets to decide for themselves individually. But if you're interested in our suggestions, you could stick around with us. We have a lot to answer for a friend.